Welcome to the Intuitive Woman Podcast with your host, Tina Conroy. Gain clarity, confidence, and trust in your inner wisdom. Explore spiritual topics, including intuition, healing, wellness, yoga, vibrant living, and more.
Welcome to the Intuitive Woman Podcast. Hey guys, Tina here. I hope you are all doing fantastic. I just came off an amazing weekend, the Intuitive Woman Retreat, and I have to tell you that I'm still in La La Land. It was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this past weekend, and boy, did we have a lot of fun. 14 women up in Beacon, New York, and a beautiful 18th century home, amazing vegetarian meals, and a lot of yoga, healing, and interacting. We just chilled. I am looking to do a retreat in the fall. I am already getting requests and making a waiting list. So if this is something that you are in the area, or if you want to travel, it is a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It will be held in the fall. I am looking at some dates. Just let me know you're interested. You can shoot me an email at tinaconroy111@gmail.com. I cannot wait to do it again, and the fall is going to be just as lovely as the spring. We are in the midst of the 21-day New You Spiritual Challenge, and it's not too late. You may have missed the first call, but it is fine because all the calls are recorded. We meet live each Wednesday for 4 Wednesdays. So even though you missed last Wednesday, it is absolutely fine. We meet by Zoom, 30 minutes, and we've been going over amazing spiritual practices to take into your life. 21 days, we always hear that. 21 days is about making a change. You'll adopt habits, rituals, maybe you'll throw some things out, bring some things in, and we have a fantastic group. So it's not too late. I will send you the first call on recording, and you can join us live for the next 3. And again, if you're interested, just shoot over to my email, tinaconroy111@gmail.com. Also, guys, if you're not connected with me on my website, please go ahead and check it out. Get on my website to get connected to me, tinaconroy.com. And if you're interested, there is a complimentary energy assessment. And anywhere around the world, actually, you can connect with me and we can do an energy assessment. Let's see where your energy is at. See what's going on with you. Check out your chakras, check out your balance, and go ahead and check that out. Well, I want to share with you my amazing guest. We are heading into the yoga territory. Yes. And a lot of you know that I am a yoga teacher. I started teaching yoga to kids in 2004 and never thought I would ever teach yoga to adults, but I have. I graduated to teaching to adults, and that's pretty much about all I teach to now. Stephanie Cunningham, yoga teacher, also has a podcast, and her podcast is Changing the Face of Yoga. And I love that. Her podcast is amazing. Having her on, she will be talking about why she decided to teach yoga to seniors. And one of the biggest reasons she started to teach yoga to seniors was helping her mom. She noticed her mom had lower back pain due to arthritis, and her mom was always, as she says, a firecracker. So she wanted to be able to help her and assist her and, not have her be so uncomfortable. So Stephanie has been committed to changing the face of yoga along with her podcast name. I cannot wait to get this conversation going. Hey, Stephanie, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Good to hear from you.
So good to hear from you. I love that we can talk this, expansion of across the miles of the internet. So maybe you want to share with everyone. I'm in New York and you are in?
I'm in Newcastle, Australia.
Beautiful. How's the weather there this time of year?
We're going into fall, and it was just a horribly hot summer. So we're really excited about fall and cooling down, and it's quite gorgeous right now. It's really beautiful.
It's definitely one of my trips that I want to go on, as they say, the bucket list. So my 19-year-old was trying to get an internship and a study abroad, but it didn't pan out. So I'll have to try another time.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you'll love it. There's a lot to see here. It's as big as the continental United States, and you don't really realize that because it's an island in the middle of the ocean. So it's a big place, and there's lots to see. So
That's true. And not knowing my geography very well, I didn't even know that. So I just learned something new today. So as we kind of kick off the conversation, I always like to bring the listeners back in time. And as we're talking about spirituality and intuition, a little bit about your past and spirituality and religion as you can remember growing up.
Okay. I was raised Catholic. It didn't take very well. I remember being a small child going, I don't know about this. But it was very, very important to my mother. So I went along with it. Besides, if you're 8-year-olds, what are you going to do, But what I did, I think, is I grew into spirituality where you don't really need a formal religious experience. At least I don't. And some people do, and that's great. But I have gotten more and more into universal good and connectedness and those kinds of things. And I think meditation helps that because I do meditate. And so I'm more into a generic, we're all in this together and everything is connected. And so how do I want to act in my life to support that belief?
And I hear that a lot. Matter of fact, and we have the common grounds of the yoga grounds and the meditation and the spiritual practices, which I can't wait to talk about. And I hear that a lot. I too was brought up Catholic, and a lot of the ladies that I've been speaking with have very similar backgrounds. They were either brought up Catholic or Jewish or different background, but they are now spiritual, universal, and sort of this all consciousness, allowing them to feel one with universe and spirit. So it's very interesting as more and more people are dropping away from the religious boundaries, finite boundaries, and opening up to this other, not the other, but I think it's always been there, just more universal. And I'm finding that even more with my young adult children as well.
Oh, really? I think perhaps people weren't introduced to any other way to think spiritually when they were young. It was just this kind of organized religion. And I think as you get older, you realize that there are other ways to look at it. And I think people are starting to explore that and finding it to be very satisfying, really, to kind of shape it the way that makes sense to them, which I don't think is as easy in an organized religion.
I agree. I absolutely agree. So when was the time where, as we move into more of the yoga in your life, where did you find yoga, or how did yoga find you, I should say?
In the year 2000, we did a around the world bicycle tour, and we ended up in Australia in September, and there was the Sydney Olympics then. And then my partner decided that he had had enough bicycle riding. That was 9 months of it at that time. And he really liked Australia, so he wanted to explore it. And I went on to Asia, which was the last part of the tour. And then when I was done, I came back to Australia, and he said he wanted to try to live here. And I said, okay, we can give that a try. And because of the things of the visa, I couldn't work, which was very, very upsetting to me because I'd always worked. So I was looking for things to do, and I went to a yoga class, and my teacher was Iyengar inspired also. And I really, really liked it. And I say yoga gets into your bones, and you just, I don't know, it just grows on you, and it becomes deeper and more intensive, and it's almost like a part of my life now more than a thing I do, you know what I mean? And it is so holistic that it teaches you about energy and about connectedness and how to act, how to take care of yourself, how to act within a society. And so I just feel like I don't know how to explain it, except that it's just part of me now. It's not that I'm a yoga teacher or that I'm a podcaster or that I'm anything. It's just part of me is yoga.
I can completely understand. And it brings me back to, first I had a practice before I even thought of teaching. And I had a regular yoga practice, and of course for me, I had my second child, and I had both my children before 30. So I was about 29 and she was a couple months old. And I thought yoga would be good because I'm flexible. I mean, this is the crazy thing that, I'll be good at that because I'm flexible. I was a dancer, blah, blah, blah. And that's the only reason I decided to take a yoga class. A friend of mine had a private yoga barn. It was actually a barn on her property. It was beautiful, very small. And I took my first yoga class. And I remember thinking, I can do this. I can definitely do this. And then, of course, it just got in my blood. It got in my bones and it just became part of me. The interesting part that you're saying, which resonates so much with me, is that when I chose to go on and teach, it never felt like I was a yoga teacher and then it was me. All of a sudden, how most people go to work and then they come home, yoga was part of who I was now. And so I remember going to teach and coming back. And I remember my husband saying, go have a good time. Or it was so interesting because it was almost like putting it in a box. Yoga wasn't just a thing anymore that I did. Again, it was who I was. And it's evolved more and more and more each year. And I don't know if people get that if they're not teaching it. I think they get it as a practice, but then all of a sudden you have the teaching end of it, which you're facilitating and you're learning as well. And then you have the practice for yourself. It's a very interesting work of art that complements each other.
There's different aspects of it, and you can be part of all those aspects at some point within a day or within a week, depending on how many classes you teach. I'm just amazed about how it took me over. I mean, that's not my style in life. I'm kind of sit back and look at things and very analytical. And yet, I don't know, yoga's just me now. And I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have yoga, to be honest.
I agree. I had the luxury of taking a class with my teacher, and she's an Iyengar teacher, and I hadn't taken her class for quite a while. And I took class this afternoon, and being in her class and being in her presence, it just is an amazing, amazing thing. And I remember just coming to Shavasana and lying there saying, why don't I go to her class more often? I want to be the student and not always the teacher. So share with us. So now you're in Australia and you walk into yoga, you find yoga, you start practicing yoga. Take us to where you choose to get certified and move on, and then where you are today.
Well, I literally woke up one morning and said, I want to teach over 50s. It was kind of amazing, actually. And so I took a basic yoga course, and then I went back to the States. My mom needed some help, and so I went back to the States, and she is a little firecracker, and I swear I walked so fast because I was always trying to keep up with her when I was a kid, and she was walking very, very slowly and looked like she was in pain. And I said, well, Mom, what's wrong? And she said, I think I have arthritis in my lower back and it really hurts. And I said, well, why don't we do a few yoga stretches? And so we did. And she's very open to new things, and she liked it and she tried it. And then we went shopping, which is another thing she really loves. And so we were out shopping, and I noticed I was trying to keep up again. I said, Mom, how's your back? And she got this really surprised look on her face, and she said, oh, it feels really good. And I said, well, see, that's what the stretching did, Mom, is it really helped your back. And so that just cemented it that I really wanted to work with over 50s to help in a therapeutic way, to help them have a better quality of life and maintain their mobility and independence. And I came back to the United States and went to a course at Duke Medical Integrative Center, which integrates Western medicine and alternative therapies. And I learned yoga for seniors there with Carol Krukoff and Kimberly Carson. And it's really an incredible training because they bring in all the medical people that actually work with individuals who have these issues that are quite common when you get older. And so it was lovely training. It was really wonderful. So I came back and felt really good about giving yoga to older people. And so I've been doing that for about 10 years now. They're just a great group. They're really a fun group to teach because